Welcome to the Man of Thought, aka the Villain of Truth, aka the Black Panther of Nigeria. Today, I want to talk about or ask a few questions, share some insights on the perceptions of the Western people about money and the perceptions of Africans when money is being concerned, how we also view money in Africa. And the reason is basically because I see that there are ways we view money differently. I have been with friends who are been in the UK, Africans who have been in the UK, in the Western world, and I see that their perception about money is totally different. The way they view money initially when they're in Nigeria or when they're in Africa, and when they get to the Western culture becomes a little bit different. And so I want to learn. I want to give out this moment to be able to ask few questions and understand why. Why is it that we have different perceptions of money? And the question again should be, is it because of our perception of how we actually look into money? That is the reason why some of us are wealthy and some of us are poor. Or is it because of the economic crisis generally? And we understand that in Africa, we would always say something that our governments are always stealing from us. Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Rusty. Good afternoon, sir. Hope you had a great day. I was on live this morning and you were not there. And I knew, okay, probably you are having some rest, preparing yourself for your shift for this week. So I'm asking a question, and the question I'm asking is regarding sometimes your live notification don't pop up. Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out some things about YouTube. I'm still trying to figure out my way around YouTube. Some people complain. Sometimes people say, oh, it's because they did not turn on their notification. Sometimes it seems it's our own issue. I am discussing about few things today on what are the perceptions of the Western way of viewing money. Default from you. Okay, that's possible. So I'm looking today's question. I'm just asking a question. I came out to um, one of my from one of my property to see few things and discuss about few things. And I have a question to ask. And that's the reason why I'm here. Vivek Viswa, good day. I'm trying to understand what are the mindsets of most Western people when it comes to money and the African views of money. And the reason is because I have had a lot of friends that they come from Africa and they've been in the Western culture. And the moment they are there for about 5 years, 10 years, their opinion about money begins to change. Solve all their problems on life. Hmm. Rusty says Western people view money as the answer to solve all their problems on life. Now, this is the perception, the place I am actually going. Now, everybody has a tendency of working with money, but it seems Gladys Amos, thanks for joining. The perception about money is like when you see people who are working to make money, and they are eventually able to succeed to a particular stage, they have a mindset or a set mind of when they borrow someone money, which is like a contract, they have to get the money back. And in fact, most of them, I think, they don't have the mindset of giving money for borrowing. Some people would say it's basically because of their past experience. That means they borrowed one or two people and they didn't give them that money. And in fact, I have seen in relationships, in some Western discussion, that they kind of borrow their spouse money. And after they give their spouse certain money, if their spouse did not return that money, regardless of the fact that they are dating that person, they sleep in the same house or whatever, for the fact that they consider that money to be borrowed, they don't mind charging that person to court. They don't mind whatever situation that goes on. They have to receive that money. And in the African perspective, we borrow people money, in fact, knowing fully well that there's a chance and a possibility of us not receiving that money back. There's a chance, high probability, that we might not receive it, most especially when it becomes our loved one, when it becomes people that has to do with our loved ones, either our parents, even I don't think any African man would borrow their parents' money, so that's impossible. Rusty says, okay, Vivek Viswa says, money now has become a global power which rules the world. A piece of paper has more value than human now. Thanks, bro. Rusty says, many Westerners live paycheck to paycheck, but many have loans for cars, houses, even furniture, TV, etc. And the reason is because I might be wrong with that perception, but sometimes I kind of see some of my friends who have been able to make it financially, do something with their life outside the country. I begin to see that regardless of the fact that they become more wealthier than me financially, because we have to make the distinct, when they become financially richer than me, these are people sometimes I consider that when they were in Africa, they don't even have as much as they do when they travel to the Western culture. Yet they have the ability to give, to reach out to their loved ones, to help their communities. But when they get to the Western culture, the perception they come up with becomes a little bit different. And they become more richer. They can get more property in Africa because things are kind of cheap here. You know what £1 is? You know what $1 is? $1 to Nigerian currency, that's over 1,500 naira. £1 in Nigeria currency is over 2,000 naira. So when you make more money, it seems as if something changes in the psyche when people are in the Western world. And in fact, these are the people who would reach out to their friend and even ask, "Oh, guy, you're acting is in a certain kind of way. What's troubling your mind?" In Africa, this is how we act. If I see my friends that you have a discussion with me, and maybe I can observe or perceive that your attitude is kind of funny in a way, and I ask you what's going on, and you finally have the courage to open up to me and tell me, "Oh, this is what I'm going through. These are my challenges," and I have the funds with me, I most likely will give you that funds, or I most likely will say, okay, let me give you 50% of the funds they are looking for if money is actually your problem. And let us talk to our friends who also have ways to contribute to you to help you out of this situation. Or let us find a way that we can finance whatever you want to do and you go ahead and make it work. But now, some of these same people who had this ability, when they go to the Western culture and they come back after a period of 10 years or 7 years, they change completely. If they give you money and you don't return the money back, maybe let's say $100 for example. Let's say $100 for example. They most likely will block you for the rest of your life. And these are not a perception, because in Africa, there's a way we view life. We view life like the wealth that anyone can actually have truly in life is human relationship. That's our view. Human relationship is our best view of wealth. So you can remember yesterday when we were having conversation, and HJJ was saying something about how wealthy he was, and I'm like, okay, send 500 pounds, and he was saying he was a wealthy person. Really, in the African perspective, we don't look at wealth through money. We look at wealth through relationship, through influence, because at the end of the day, you most likely can find yourself in situations where money cannot really solve the problem. And maybe, I don't really understand. We have a deep history, we have a deep understanding. And I'm like, what really happens? Because Rusty said something earlier when he touched on the idea that most people are making money and they live paycheck to paycheck, but many have loans for cars, houses, even furniture, TV, etc. And I'm like, is that what it means to have a functioning society, to put people on paycheck to paycheck? Or is it the mentality of how people are meant to perceive money? Is that why they see money that way? Who the truth just hit the nail on the head. In the idea of Africans, wealth is a lifestyle to Africans. I am right here. I have some money with me here in my pocket, and you'll be surprised. The man of thought is very wealthy. I have some money here. You can see 1,000. You can see 200. You can see. I hope EFCC will not come after me and tell me that I abuse our currency. These days, people go to prison for abusing naira. The naira that doesn't have value, yet they arrest people for spreading or abusing naira. I don't know how I will abuse something that is a non-living thing, but let's put that aside. Sometimes when I think of some things, my head always bursts. They are abusing human beings. We have not been able to take care of those people, to fight for humans. Police brutality, we have not been able to do it. Now we are fighting for abusing of naira. In the Western culture, those ones they fight for, I know some of them fight for dogs, animals, abuse. But where I'm actually going to is the idea that for us, it is just a lifestyle. Money is just a lifestyle. As I am here, I don't need to have much money with me. If someone walks in here and I can sense that you have something you are actually going through and you speak to me about it, the moment it's in my disposal, the natural way we do is to give. It's not necessarily even borrowing. Rusty says it is to keep people at the bottom of the ladder. Rusty, I'm trying to figure out, is it a mentality or is it an education principle? Because most of them that I have seen always go there, and when they come back, they change. And they have more money than when they were in Nigeria. They have more money when they were in Africa. Is it that it is just because of the paycheck to paycheck, the mentality of working? Or is it that they educate people about money and it makes them become a little bit greedy? Who the truth says, why do I call it a lifestyle? Helping our family is a priority to Africans. If a family member calls us for assistance and we couldn't afford it, it hits us hard like hell. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. In fact, our perception of money is just like, if I have the money, let me invest in the things that can take good care of myself and my family in the future. And right now, I have to take care of the responsibility of the things that matters to me at this particular moment. Someone is saying something. Samuela Robert says, I am paying my debt to start new without having some debt. Did it once, doing it again. This time, no loans. If I want it, I pay the amount. Ask if not. Okay. I wait maybe one day. Okay, I wait maybe one day. Okay, I understand what Samuel Robert is saying. You don't want to go into depth or stuff like that. I'm trying to figure out the Western perceptions of money and why people become greedy when they are outside the country, regardless of the fact that they have more money in Africa and they come. Who is calling my number? I keep blocking some numbers and some numbers keep calling back. Leke. Jardin Wells says, no, do not give to anyone. Money is only made for transactions. The person must give something in return. Jardin Wells says that, no, do not give to anyone. Money is only made for transactions. The person must give something in return. Rusty says it's all gone before you realize, and you're stuck in a system where you can't save up money. We work all week. Wow. Jaden Wells' perspective, sorry, in my view, it looks extreme. And I know you're making sense. I know you're making sense. But it sounds extreme to the African perspective. Do not give to anyone. Money is only made for transactions. Money is only made for transaction. We can agree to a sense to say that money is the purpose of money is for transaction, but we can use it for something else. We can use it for something else. Part of it is, maybe you call it investment. Maybe investment is also a transaction. Maybe when you go to a doctor and you're not feeling sick and you're not feeling well, maybe the doctor gives you health as a transaction. So if you give to the needy and to the poor, maybe to charity, is it a transaction? If you give to the blind and you give to the less privileged, what is the expectation? What is the expectation when you give to your parents? Is that also transaction? Rusty says it's all gone before you realize you're stuck in a system where you can't save up money. Rusty says we work all week. I meant, okay. Loans on everything is a quick answer to Western problem, but long time it keeps them always where our government wants them. Trust me. Jaden Wells says that in the past, we used to trade one animal for another or an item for another. Humans change that transaction to currency because it's easier. Who the truth says, what if your family member need to make a a transaction and they can't afford it, is it wise not to assist? I am even looking at it from a different perspective. I am looking at it in an angle like giving to the less privileged, giving to someone who is poor, because here is what we need to understand when it has to do with money. And this is where the perceptions of Africans come when money is concerned. Initially, as hunter-gatherers, everybody goes into the forest or into the bush to hunt. And to some men, some hunters, they have the opportunity to hunt a very big animal. Let's say, for example, you hunt a buffalo. You and your family, maybe you have a family of 8 or a family of 10 or a family of 20, you cannot finish eating all that buffalo. You and your 10 family cannot finish eating all that buffalo. So what you do is you distribute that buffalo and you give to other hunters. When you give to other hunters and they are eating, there are days, it simply means there are days they most likely would go for hunting and you also will go for hunting. You may not come back with anything. And when they come back with what they hunt, that means we are investing in relationship with people. We are not investing, because if perhaps you keep that buffalo that you want to eat, you want to finish eating it, that buffalo might expire. It might rotten. It might be wasted. So we believe in investing in people. We believe that the biggest wealth you can have is in investing inside of people. Now, you may not see the investment right now. There might not even be a possibility that they will give you at this particular moment, because you might be a very good hunter for a period of years. There are time that is coming that you most likely would not be able to hunt. And these people would hunt due to the fact that they understand that you use, as an elder, as an experienced hunter, you used to invest in them. Now they begin to do the same thing. And I'm still going to talk about the wolves also, what the wolves do. Rusty says, you can build a home yourself cheap in Africa, I assume. Yeah, the average person spends all their life renting, never even owning a home. That's true. That's true. I have a plot of land. This is not my normal property. I just have this plot of land. I bought it around 2020. This is over a plot of land. I bought it around 2020. It's not up to $200 when I bought this full plot of land. And if you look at the front, I have three shops. I have a complex here. I built something here, an office. Sometimes I come here to rest. I'm actually building a studio. I'm not done. I still have a lot of stuff to do. So everything I've spent here is not up to, converting it to dollar, is not up to $1,000. So if you are not in Africa, you're actually missing. So Jaden Wells says, think value. Some things are sentimental and some things are worth real value. Like giving money to a person in need is sentimental. Jaden Wells, please, I would also appreciate if you can break down that aspect of the sentimental, what you actually mean by sentimental. Russell says, you can buy a car cheap in most your countries except the UK. Most UK people finance a car, never owning it. What? I think I'm beginning to understand. It is just like people are having a luxurious lifestyle, but they have nothing. No wonder my spirit don't want to go to the Western place. Imagine if I sell all my whole property, all my property in Nigeria. If I sell everything, I might not be able to even afford half plot of land in the Western country. What will ruin my life? Rusty says, you can buy, okay. Jaden Wells says, the concept will fail once you assume that they will do the same for you. Yes, the idea is not for them to do the same for you. The idea is that you invest in people not really expecting, but a time comes, as time goes on, a time comes, maybe we do not understand this particular concept in life. It's like we don't really understand that what we sow, we reap. And here's one thing. I'm going to say something stupid. Please just look at my stupidity. I think I have seen most of my Western friends, those ones who held on to the idea of they become greedy. I see one thing is removed from their life, and that is the idea of joy. I know joy is a statement that looks sentimental or does not make sense. Yes, they may have money, but I know many miserable rich people. Now, there is one blessing in the idea of giving to people. It returns back to you with a sense of joy, with a sense of humanity. It breaks something inside of you, it grinds something inside of you, and it responds back with joy. When you give to people out of what you've earned, there's a psychological, I don't know how to put my words on it. I don't know how to put my words on it. This is the reason why in Africa we may not have enough. We may not live that glamorous lifestyle, but one thing for sure is that we are not depressed people. Go on Instagram, go on any social media and see the people who make the highest jokes. See the people who dance the most. See the people who rejoice the most. It is Africa. Why? We have the spirit of giving. Now, I'm not saying that we are that great, but I think that our economy issues are there. And when we look at that particular fact, we can hold that to some of our leadership and some of the things we abandon as people. But if the idea of giving is to expect something physical in return or a transaction in return, you might be missing the point that there's something that is being given to you spiritually that you might not be able to see, and that's joy. And so we see a lot of miserable people, and I have seen a lot. Ohan Osagie says, giving to your parents is a transaction because they give you life. When you give, you are giving back. Laman Sikapa. Ohan Osagie, my perception will be this: appreciation is not giving. Appreciation is not giving. When we give to our parents, we appreciate them. It is not a transaction. You give us life. You didn't give us life. God gave us life. We came through you, but we appreciate your effort every single time. That is why we did not accumulate it with a particular amount and we say, Mom, for you giving birth to me and the amount you use in taking good care of me is 50 million or 100 million, and I'm going to pay you back with 150 million. It is not transactional. It is appreciation. And appreciation can never be enough. When you wake up and you thank God, they don't want guys. So that part, let me see here. Rossi says an average home year costs 100,000 euro. I busy 1,000 euro. My profile is my hamster says I love Africa. Samuel Robert says I have seen from my own people, Suriname, South America, they boost because their family and friends cannot see how they struggle. When asked to send money, they use being tough as reason not to send. Who the Truth says, when Jesus Christ wanted to preach to the audience, he provided food for them because he knew they needed it. So considering humanity should come first. BERR says, Russell says, living beyond our means, brother. A culture where we can have a lot, but don't own any of it. Who the Truth says, also come of think of it about the Good Samaritan in the Bible. Joel Jaden Wells says, your family has value to you, but that value is sentimental, but purchasing a home is actually valuable. Your family has value to you, but that value is sentimental. Sentimental. Please pause. I want to say something. Um, while I was growing up, I used to be the most troublesome child in the house. And earlier this week or earlier last week, I actually had my sister. We wanted to speak, but because of the network issue, I have a house. I have houses. Right now, as I speak to you, I have over 6 to 7 property. I have people who pay me rent. I make money. I'm into farming. I do a lot of stuff. In my family, I would say I am one of the most blessed person. One of the most blessed person in my family, regardless of I know I have nothing. I had an issue which I talk about, that I found myself in jail because I was fighting for my community with a real estate, a very big organization. I kept fighting them and I found myself in jail. Now, these people, when they wanted to come for me, they did not come for me when I was in Ogun State, because I'm still in Ogun State. They did not come. They had to go and write a petition in a different state, thinking that I would not have anyone to help me in that state to grant me bail. They lay false allegation and the rest of it. And you know, Nigerian system, once the law enforcement sees money, they will come after you. And they just lay any allegation. So they laid allegation of I tried to kill, they just laid all false allegation, and I find myself there. During those period of time, I had money. I had people outside the country, in the UK, who are willing to send me millions. The people I was fighting for, they were in UK, they were in different places, in US, in Canada, Australia. They were willing to send money. The only people who was running around to find the solution to my problem, to find a solution, to get documents, to do civil servant, everything they had to do to get me out of jail was my family. They ran. In fact, I was in jail when in jail, we know how to run phone and we know how to do a lot of stuff. When I was in jail, I knew the stress they were going through. And I was asking myself, will I be able to do this particular stress? Sometimes money is not enough. And these people went through hell for their brother, leaving their jobs, leaving their sleep, walking around for me. We call that sentimental. And I have my own family. I have my children. I have my wife in a different state. My wife gave birth to a child and my daughter is still very little. So I can't, even when my wife tells me she wants to come to prison to see me, I told my wife, don't come. You can only see me for 10 minutes. Why would you drive from here? Or why would you come from a place to come see me for driving for almost 3 hours and then you come to see me for only 10 minutes or 5 minutes? Don't come. My family were running around and we call that sentimental. Is that sentimental? That is the biggest value. Biggest value of all time. Maybe it is the dysfunctionality of relationship with humanity that gives us the idea to see money as the most biggest value. If that same my sister goes through any stuff in life, I will be willing to sell anything I have to sell to make sure I meet up with whatever she is, just to make her satisfied. Money? Nah. Family ain't sentimental. It is the biggest asset in Africa. Maybe in other words, I don't know. What I'm saying, let me not go too far. Let me continue. Rusty says the average Western person that also does this, they get a lump sum of money and buy something like an expensive gold chain or watch, okay, before they can own a house or a car. La Mansicapa, you will be so surprised if I tell you some things about me. Canary King says, although in America, yeah, we believe in smiling, usually fake smiles. I know a lot of them. You are right, Canary King. Rusty say fake smile is definitely a Western thing in general. When I laugh, I laugh. When Africans laugh, we mean it. We don't pretend by our smile. We hide our emotions, according to Rusty, though ask if we are okay, we are fine, even if we are at rock bottom. Jaden Wells, my children are more valuable to me than any building in the world. I don't know. Machiruku, or is it Makrikus? Makriros. What country are you? Bobo, Nigeria. Jaden Wells says at Rusty, sentimental value is worth more than real value. Is that a question? Jaden Wells might be passing a message. It says, Rusty, sentimental value is worth more than real value. Rusty says, the man of thoughts, Nigerian. Yeah, so Jaden Wells says, that's why painting and other things cost more than country infrastructure. Jaden Wells is very deep. Oh, she's going very deep. She's going to a place where my brain cannot fathom. That's why painting and order. I'm trying to always get in where she's actually driving to. Things cost more than country infrastructure. Let me leave that. I think she would explain it later. My brother, the biggest thing we have is a clean conscience. Say so. Your name. Are you fighting communists? Do not sell everything, according to Jason. Fighting corruption/terrorists. Why did they put you in jail? Well, if you have been following me before, you would have heard that story over and over again. I've told the story countless of times. In our estate, we bought a property. I bought the property. I was the first person who bought that property in a real estate organization. They call the real estate organization Arkview Investment. Arkview Investment. We are still in court right now. Arkview Investment. So, why we bought the property? When you get the property, you are supposed to own your thing. But at the end of the day, they begin to request that we pay electricity bill to them when we have the opportunity to pay it to the electricity company, organization. And then they were requesting that people should pay higher. That means that the money we were paying for electricity bill is more or less like you renting a property. And then I stood against it. People in the community were scared to approach them because they were connected. And I made a decision to bring them to social media and I escalate every single thing they are doing. And then they get upset. I have evidence of many things. Right now we are in court. Since we have gone to court, they are the one running away. So they went to lay false allegation because they bribed almost all the IBEDC around our environment. And then I had to call from the headquarters. So they came and they start fixing things. Because of that, they said I wanted to kill them. They just laid all kinds of allegations that doesn't make sense. And you know our law enforcement, they came from, what did they call it? Zone 2, Obalende, to come arrest me. They snuck me, they sneak me. Is it sneak or snuck? The past tense of sneaking is what? Snorking. They sneak me to the police cell. Their boss is not aware of it. And before you know, the inspector just knew how he did his magic and they took me to court immediately. Because they did not allow me to call my lawyer. They did not allow me to call a lot of people. They knew if the case was supposed to go to magistrate court, they took the case to federal high court. Because they understood that for you to be able to get bail in federal high court is going to cost you a lot. So that's why they did. I had the money, but the requirement for you to get bail is difficult. I was willing to stay in jail for many years. But right now, everyone in the estate is free. So we are paying according to what we use, what we consume, and we are sleeping in peace. Electricity is stable. So if nobody is willing to fight because one person is wealthy, once I hear, I am willing to die for it. I don't care. Jaden Wells says that at Rusty, some paintings and historical artifacts does not have a price tag. They will never be sold. Okay, Rusty is correcting me. Sneak. You see, it's not our language. English is not our language. So sneaking and snorking, anyone, even snoring, they they hide me and put me inside cell. Uh, but while I was in jail, I was just smiling. The only thing that breaks my heart was the people who were struggling to make sure I was out of jail. So yeah, yeah. So Jaden Wells, I would try to understand. Are you saying that the sentimental value are more than the physical material values, or are you saying that the material values, which is the transactional part of it, are more than the sentimental values? Because I have given an analogy regarding our historical facts, why the hunters of those days in tribes, why they hunt the way they hunt. And now let us take a look at wolves. Wolves are very incredible animals. Snog is okay if you did something like snog, an extra slice of pizza. Even if they like, they call it snacks. An X account. What is an X account? What is an X account? Maybe an X account is what? How they call X? Is it a divorce account? Twitter account? Okay. Oh, I've even forgotten. See, I don't think we would ever remove from the programming of Twitter that word that man is calling X. It doesn't resonate from person to person. True. Okay, I understand. Why do you think it is important that I have an X account? Because that place is kind of crazy. X is free. You could get help. Oh, that's true. That's true. I need help. There are people who are using premium, who are using account on YouTube. They used to send money sometimes. So people can send money on YouTube. Thank you. Somebody say I'm a good man. I try to be. The definition of good. I try to be the definition of good man. Because I think everyone is good. It's just because the level of consciousness in every man's life. When you operate on a low vibration, you would not understand the idea of being a good person. But if you operate on a high consciousness, you would understand that when you are high in consciousness, nobody have to tell you that shall not kill, that shall not lie, that shall not behead your brother, that shall not fornicate, that shall not commit adultery. You already understand these things. The Bible gives laws. Laws are meant for the fools. So, but sometimes it's basically because everyone cannot raise their consciousness to a higher ground. Jaden Wells says, so relationships are valuable from person to person. True. My name is Stephen Bunker. I'm American. Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? God will choose the right leader for America, because America is now in a situation where everybody, I say it must be Trump. I've not spoken. Which kind of English am I speaking? I've not spoken to any individual who prefer Kamala Harris. That lady, it's not because she's a lady, it's just because she looks mean. She's mean. Looking at her historical fact, she looks mean. And like, if this lady gets to president, I pity our people. Our people. So what Jaden Wells says is that relationship are valuable from person to person. That simply means you should keep a strong, good relationship with people. Now, when you look at the wolves, for example, wolves take care of their parents and their parents, that's the father and mom. Funny thing about wolves, when they have intimacy and they bear children, wolves don't go around sleeping with other wolves. Once they meet one person, they go straight to that particular wolf, and then they have children with that particular wolf. Maybe I will call it wolf race. Wolf is a male wolf, female is a wolf wolf race. Of you have liked this video. Thank you, Who the Truth. Please, if you haven't like. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. Thank you, Who the Truth, for reminding me. I so much have fun having conversation with people that I sometimes forget to make certain requests. Bikono, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like if you haven't liked. So the wolf kind of have they hustle to take care of their children. They hunt to take care of their children. And their children, they call it children because I don't know the name they call wolves. Kids or child or cute. When they grow older, they take good care of their parents. This is how things are supposed to exist between animals. And same thing is, and they are so conscious. And that same thing is transferred to humans. So it's so funny that a lot of us, what the truth says, so what is a wolf? But Americans do care about America. Freedom will reign. Your name, who says his name is Bonka, Stephen Bonka. It will be okay if you can change your title name, your YouTube title name to Stephen Bonka, so I can always address you as that particular name. Because I might, when I call you like 10 to 15 times, it gets stuck in my head. Wolverine is a character in X-Men. Rusty knows this. Sorry, Who the Truth already knows this. He knows Wolverine is an a character. And Mr. Stephen Bonka, we have been having some conversations, and let me just chip it in. We have been having some conversations sometimes, and we are trying to bring back how some of our blacks, brothers and sisters who are in the Western culture, how we can start conversations that can always bring them back to Africa. Most of them had kind of bad experience. Some of them have bad experience when they try to come to Africa. They said you guys do this DNA or research on your skin or your body, and then you can trace your ancestral past where you come from. Some of them know they come from Nigeria, and some of them know they come from Ghana and different places, Cote d'Ivoire, whatever, Kenya, Africa as a whole. But most of them say they always have bad experience when they try to come to Africa. Now, I know for the men, they don't have such issues, most of them. But for the women that are black Western women, when they try to come back to Africa, some of them face backlash. And I'm trying to have a strong conversation with people who have more insight so we can discuss these things at length. So please, I know you have subscribed. If there's a way subsequently we'll be having conversations like this, it is one of the major things I'm concerned about, because like Rusty was saying earlier about people buying lands and properties, and yet you don't even own what you have. I have certain friends who are in Western culture, in the US, for example, who says they buy a property, yet they pay rent for, you can't even dig a borehole. If you have to dig a borehole, you have to pay a tax. So if these individuals can come to Africa and they are welcomed properly to Africa, they can invest in Africa, and whatever you invest in Africa, you own it. No government is coming to disturb you. Most of the perceptions you have about Nigeria, it's just a minority of all this Boko Haram stuff or stuff they just talk about like tribalism, like it's going everywhere. Yes. So we always have these conversations, and we have to create the awareness so people can always know what are the possible things we can do to bring back our brothers and sisters who are in the Western culture. Now, there are many things we have looked at. Some of it tends to be like, it seems our women in Africa mostly welcome the black men because they appreciate them. But I think that we should welcome our women also. And sometimes we know we have some cultural differences. There are things that Africa we would not accept, but how can we mitigate around this kind of, division among us? Because I think we can do well. We would be able to function as people if we can find a way to bring back our brothers and sisters. At least let them have a sense of belonging in Africa. Please, I would love to always hear your perspective also on this. In fact, I think what's her name? Jaden Wells. Sometimes I would appreciate also our viewpoint on it. Weniak 917 says, good morning, evening from USA. Okay, welcome, sir. Good afternoon. Okay, we are in the UK. We share the same time. And what's our time here? This is 2:24 p.m. InfoWars. Trust me. When it comes to the idea of how people see the black Western people, it was difficult for me to actually realize that they are decent Western families. It was difficult. It was difficult. So why not we have certain discussion and great insight? Oh, when he even said InfoWars, Rusty is saying that channel is toxic. So that means there are channels that does this magic. Maliko Sondaya. One of the things I've been able to get from here is the idea of the financial perspective. This is what I just decided this afternoon I was going to touch on. The idea of the way we see money. And I understand from this angle at this particular point that maybe it is the lifestyle, and that lifestyle in the Western culture kind of breeds people to have certain sentiment around money, and they think money is everything. That's what I've been able to learn. But I still think maybe it's our way, but I still appreciate the African method of how we view money. And if it is possible for those people who are in the Western culture, try. See, I don't want to say some things online. Africa is the easiest place you can get, what do they call it? Citizenship. Citizenship is as easy as you are trying to eat rice and chicken. That's how it is. Very easy. So, when people sometimes capitalism has its good side, but sometimes extreme capitalism has its negative side, and it impacts people and it divides people. And so you are going to see a lot of people who are wealthy, and the only thing they begin to do with people is to make transaction, just the way Jaden Wells said earlier. Money is just transaction, to the extent that sex is just a transaction between people. That is slavery. That's a slave mindset. That is devouring the essence of humanity. Just imagine, and we say that the air we breathe, let's just imagine that the air we breathe, we have to pay for it. Sexuality, people are paying for sexuality. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in Africa, no. I'm not saying it doesn't. But I'm saying it is not the basis of how we see things. We know these individuals who capitalize on people's emotion and say, oh, we want to do this to make money. Yes, it can be something people use as money, but it is not what has been instilled in the society in Africa. But when capitalism is always everything, in fact, I know some prostitutes in Africa that makes money and they take care of their family and they take care of their boyfriend, and that's why they do it. When he asks 917 says soon there will be an air tax. That's true. That's true. We are taking certain things that nature has given to us for free. We are capitalizing on all those kind of stuff. And that is taking our peace, that is taking our joy, that is costing us a lot. And then they put your life in a position where you have to chase after money every single time. The moment money becomes only what you chase after, there is no way you would not lose humanity, a sense of humanity. Not even capitalism anymore. Extreme, I don't even see, when I talk to people, I don't even see capitalism. True, I see extreme capitalism. Rusty says one day paying for hair will be a thing. Clean air will be provided in, in bottles when the planet is. Stephen Murray says that you are exactly right. You're okay. You're right. It says 917 says rent here is so expensive. Cheapest housing is like 1,800 a month in my area. You will buy 1 acre of land in Nigeria. 1 acre, and you will still do foundation to fence the property. Kavita, hello Kavita. I was expecting you yesterday. I did not see you. What happened? How is India? How are you doing? I was expecting a response from you. I was even thinking, you know, Rusty said, let us have a conversation. And I was thinking, maybe you would see my email address and chat me through WhatsApp. You know, talk to me. Let us discuss some few things regarding your situation. Please make sure you write to me. My email address is on my page. Or send a WhatsApp chat to me. You can chat me up on WhatsApp. How you doing? Yeah, I come. Please do. Tennis. Thank you for playing tennis on our live chats. Rusty, Rusty says there are people in Western countries who live on oxygen today who have to pay for it. Now, so you take the start to. In Nigeria, we say like play, like play. Like play, like play. That's how we start to. Before you know, they will start giving people oxygen to go to office. Like play, like play. Waniak says, I own and my property tax is like 3,200 a year. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. How much is that? Tax. $1,000 is equal 1.5 million naira. 1.5 million, 1.5 million. That's 3 million. 4.5 million naira. 200. You are buying 2-bedroom in Africa. You will buy 2-bedroom flats, and then with that 3,200, you will buy 2-bedroom flats, and you will use that 2-bedroom flat for 99 years with global C of O for 99 years without paying tax. Of God. Creed, welcome, my brother. Creed says West is lost. West is not lost, oh. You know, some people like it. Jaden Wells says, the man of thought, the 1% values relationship more than money, but to the people at the bottom, they are trying to survive. So money is their goal. The 1% values relationships more than money, but to the people at the bottom, they are trying to survive. So money is their goal. Jaden Wells, I would agree with you on a sense in African perspective. I will agree with you on a sense. And the place I would agree is that when you are in an urban area, money becomes the priority. When you are in a rural area, money is not the priority for a lot of us. I know a lot of people, carpenters, people who do jobs that they make little money, yet they reach out to a lot of people. And I said something. I was talking to Rusty the other day, and I said, when I make decisions to go from my house down to this place, I will greet nothing less than 150 people on the way. Because in a small community, people know themselves in Africa, yeah, and because of that knowing, we kind of relate in a different way. Now, in the urban area, maybe because the population is kind of high, when people just see give any value to each other, because they most likely would see someone they wouldn't see again. So maybe that concept kind of worked that way over there. But I always encourage most Nigerians to move away from the urban area. I have been in an urban area and moved to the rural area. In Nigeria, we have not occupied 15% of our land. If they gather all the population of Nigeria, over 200 and something million population, we have not occupied 15% of our land. Everybody are just in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, and the rest of it. When you go, you are going to see vast land where we can invest in, and that would return back some of our values and culture and traditions and the way we perceive each other. So in some sense, yes, but I know of a lot of people also, even in the urban area, who values their people. The money is the struggle. Economical challenges can be a struggle. It is. I acknowledge it. It is a struggle. As I speak to you, everything, sometimes when I think about money. But at the end of the day, for me, I actually pay more attention to communal things than financial things. Why? Because I've been able to invest in certain things that would make sure that I and my family would not go hungry. Most of my work is how I can reach out to more people, to help more people. And I know there are a lot of people who are also here. And it's not only me. The difference why I'm saying this is because I'm the only one, I'm mostly the person who is on YouTube. There are a lot of people I know in my community that are wealthy, who have done something for their family, and they are reaching out to the community. Some of us will dig borehole for the community. Some of us will reach out to them. Some of them will give them space to run some business for about 2 years without collecting a penny from them. We are doing this in our community, and it's happening. And it's not only in our community, it's happening in various places. So it is an African way of seeing life. But what I know is that those people who have actually gone to this Western culture and they've stayed there for a while, then their perception kind of change when they come back. Rossi said drinkable water will one day be out of most valuable resource because as of now, we only have 0.007% of Earth's water, which is drinkable. We messed up big time. Wait, Rusty, how far that one? 0.007%. In my house, we dig borehole. There is water every single time. We dig excessive water. We give water. I pump water for people who bought property who have not been able to dig borehole. Excessive water. Or is it water in the Western place? Or are you talking about the population of the world as a whole? Waniak 91 says he loves Nigerian tax law. You will enjoy Nigerian tax law. America has no. I beg you, don't let me say something that will make them block my channel. It is the word of Waniak, not my words. Every week, according to Rusty, says drinking tap water, you will consume roughly a credit card. Amount of plastic. This is the reason why I'm telling my African brothers and sisters in the Western culture, let them come back. They have big companies that run everything, even think for thing. That's Creed speaking. Jaden Wells says at tennis, trust among the 1%, they value each other's relationship. tennis. Trust amongst the 1%, they value each other's relationship. Tennis, actually, I have my pet spider relaxing. Tennis, you are actually playing table tennis on this our episode. Are you my mom will say something. She will say, don't take me for Jokulali. Are you joking with me? Are you joking with our intelligence? Pet spider relaxing. Are you saying you have a pet spider? Rusty says National Geography. That's what National Geography say. Please, how did these people always come up with all this their statements? Creed says that imagine a company or government thinking for you. What a joke. Tire Meal. Eta Morris says, yo, I just joined. Thank you very much for joining, Eta Morin. If you haven't subscribed, I know you have subscribed right now. Like, share, and what do they call it? Join membership if you can. Rusty says National Geographic. You see, the problem of the Western people sometimes, let me speak from an African ignorance, is that you people sometimes trust the statement of all these people who call themselves professional. In Africa, yeah, we rarely believe things. The problem of Africa is they believe in Jesus Christ syndrome. But in Africa, we rarely believe in any person who call themselves a professional or a professor. Yes, we hear what you have to say, but we look through traditional things, we see things, and we think for ourselves in certain areas. They will call it, oh, the same thing these Western people said during the time of COVID. Do you remember what they said during the time of COVID? They are going to give you injections. They don't want this thing to transfer from one place to another, the COVID and all of that. In Nigeria, I challenge our president and all Nigerian professors, Nigerian hospital, to prove that one Nigeria die of COVID. No single Nigeria die of COVID. All those palliative that you people brought to Nigeria to support us, our government, before they come for me and arrest me, they take it in and they kept it. We don't die of COVID, but all those narration was in their places. Look in our soil here, we have so much water. When you are talking of water, dig borehole here, you will see excessive water. Adeniyi Nubi wants to know my name. My name is Kola Omojolowo Eyimowo, aka the man of thought, aka the villain of truth. You are a Yoruba brother, so welcome. Rossi says, sadly, so when you give these people too much credit, they lie to you. That's how they lied on Joe Rogan. I believe some of you would know who Joe Rogan is. The #1 podcaster. That's how they lie on Joe Rogan, that he was using an animal, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know what they say. He's using an os dewormer or something like that. And he was saying that what people need was Maliko Sondaya. What was he saying? He was saying that people need vitamin D, and it is because of the deficiency of sunlight and vitamin D. And if you're not exercising, that's how you might be able to catch COVID, or COVID might have a lot of power on you, make you sick, die, whatever. And those particular people called professionals, these are the people who have been lying to you guys. So how did they enter the ground to go and look at all the water there? Did they enter ground to go and discover all the water inside the ground to know that it is a 0.00% of drinking water? How did they know drinking water from river water, from lake water, from sea water? How did they discover all those kind of stuff? We don't give a damn about all those things. There's time and season. There's rainy season. When there's rainy season, rain falls. Rain, we are not the one that creates rain. When the rain comes into the land, It sinks, the water goes in. Not everything that evaporates back to the sun. Most of them goes into the land. So when it is rainy season, did they measure the water that falls from the sky into the ground? Sadly, water is a very scarce resource, and according to National Geographic, a mere 0.007% of our planet water is drinkable. I would like to know what they use in doing those research. I wouldn't believe what they say. I wouldn't believe what they say. The rest is in the oceans, and the majority of the 3% of fresh water left is locked up in ice, which ultimately melts into the sea. In Africa, I will say kilomode more. What do I know? What do I know? Majority of them are professional. See, my brother, I categorize them as professional liars, because herbs in Africa, just say, what sickness can you have that in the African culture we do not have traditional ways of doing those things? But now they start bringing chemicals and the rest of it. Now, let me give you an example. It seems that it's impossible. When someone close to me was pregnant and the baby was she was 8 months pregnant. And the baby, when she did a scan, the baby was facing up rather than the baby to be facing down. They took her to a place in Africa, in Nigeria, yeah, and they said things and they did some kind of stuff, and the baby turned back to the normal position. If it is in the Western world, what would they do? They would divide the person like barbecue to bring out the baby. So there's still power in the African cultures. So some of all these things, I don't know. I don't just believe so much. I understand what people are saying. I try to look into it, but that would not stop me from thinking for myself. The problem is that a lot of people, do you even realize something about most of this Western culture stuff? Is like when they discover something or there's an association who agrees on one particular thing, that this is how you need to live, these are the laws to practice physics and the rest of it, then most likely, if they did not agree at your own experiment or your own research, they most likely will not let your stuff fly. And those things sounds to be a little bit more political. Trust me, I'm ignorant, but my ignorance is not that foolish. Joe Rogan loves a good conspiracy theory. He gets views on his podcast and he brings his guests in full of conspiracies. Yeah, they have power, so they abuse it like hell. America influence is gone. Roster says, I am just quoting people who supposedly do research for a living. Microplastics in our water is definitely a real thing, though. Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. Who do we blame? We should blame the industrial people. They could have. It is easy for them to replace either plastic with something else. I can come up with it. I wouldn't say bottle, but they can replace it with something else that it wouldn't be plastic. And people can still consume it. And it's not going to affect people. Like in Africa, yeah. Okay, I'm not in my house. In my house, we have what we call ikoko. Ikoko is a pot that is made with mud. Now, in that muddy pot, you can make a very big muddy pot and you put water in that pot. That water becomes very fresh and clean. When you drink, the water is always cold. You are going to think that you put that water inside refrigerator. And it makes a lot of sense. So when you're drinking an absolute clean water. Comparing it to putting a water in a plastic where the plastic begins to release some kind of toxic, and before you know, the water begins to become, what do they call it? Start bringing up spirogyra and the rest of it. because if you keep water in a plastic for a very long time, the water begins to get infected by one thing or the other. Yeah, something like steel bottles. Well, I might be wrong. I might not be thinking properly, but I will agree with Creed in a sense. Or stainless. Now, they would say that stainless is expensive, but I think we can wrap our head around it. Rather than people drinking some of all these things and falling sick, why not take good care of people or produce things that is going to make people stay healthy? And here's the caveat. Here's the big problem. Most of this same industrial organization who creates all this plastic mineral, like these ones who like to I did not show you people anything, no. Like all these chemical people. The difference is that we have other medicine that we take, like bitter leaf, to quench or to remove all those toxics from our system. Most of those industrial organizations are the same people who have pharmaceutical organizations. So they give you food to eat, you buy food to eat, you work and you buy food to eat, and then you eat and you fall sick, and then they give you what do they call it? They give you Maliko Sondaya. What am I saying? You fall sick, and then you go to the pharmacy, and you use your money to pay them also to get health, to be healthy. So it's just like a circle. We call that modern slavery. Modern slavery. You work, you make money, you eat food that makes you sick. No wonder people can do a lot. You eat and you fall sick, and when you fall sick, you go to the pharmacy, you go for health stuff, and then they treat you, and then you fall sick again, and you what? So I think that even the government, in some sense, are aware of these things, but they decide to act like they are ignorant. And the problem is that a lot of people are not saying this to push out for stuffs like this. To say that we don't want this kind of organization, we are not going to patronize this kind of organization. Can you even remember that particular one that Joe Rogan, they talked about when they used that alphabetical guy to be an ambassador, and people stopped drinking that particular stuff. Joe, there's a name, I've forgotten the name of that guy that became a lady, transformer, or transgender. The name is flashing in my memory. So people have the right. You can close organization, and you realize how many times they had to apologize. I'm talking about the Western culture. I'm not talking about Nigeria. There's no transformer here. They might be cross-dressers, and even the cross-dressers, they know we don't accept them. And sorry, I know most of all these things, it gets people angry, but it's the reality. And that's the reason why I say most people need Africans in their country right now, because we are doing things that multiplies humanity than doing things that declines humanity. Let us wake up to our own responsibility. You know, some people, we kind of see responsibility as what we actually take care of. We always, and then we begin to take care of things that the government says these are the things that are our responsibility. Part of our responsibility is to fight for the things and the change that we want. Most of us think we have freedom today. We don't have freedom. There is still slavery everywhere. In fact, I will tell people this: Africans still have freedom than many countries. According to Creed, it says, "All for cold hard cash." Don't live your life just on capitalism. Now, it just looks like I'm preaching the gospel. Maybe because I don't have money. That's the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. But I think that I have liberty. Liberty is the most important thing. Can you see, for men to be able to survive and to feed and to take care of themselves, they just need certain common sense to apply in life to be able to flourish. But when you get to a particular point whereby you do not necessarily have to labor to survive, the next thing you should be thinking is how to reach out to other people and to make the world a better place. You can be a billionaire and then every other person in one area, which they have nothing, and you think you are going to be safe. So for us to be able to be wealthy, we have to know that we have to do things to reach out to the community, to help other people. It is our so-called responsibility. If you think it's not your responsibility, I don't know what to say about that. But with that being said, I think I've been able to convince and not to confuse you that investing in humanity makes more sense than just paying bills. Try your best to run away from those traps that has been set by the government. How to do it, I have no solution to all the problem. But I can only say for the Black Africans who have been there, who we share the same ancestral past, we need to walk away to bring them so they can be free a little bit. You know, for them to be able to breathe air, for them to feel like they've come back home, for them to be able to have their freedom. Don't let anybody bobo you or lie to you that African is a jungle. It's not a jungle. There are beautiful places in Africa, but it's not about the beauty. It is that, are there freedom? If you are free to reach out and to bend your back, to extend love to somebody else would not be difficult for you. Any country you are in, that to give to other people, to reach out to other people is difficult, that country is holding you in bondage. Yes, I am ignorant. But when you have not tasted freedom, real freedom, you would think that money is freedom. It ain't freedom for we here. What? A bird just pooped on my hand. Maybe I've talked too much. I've said something that I'm not supposed to say. I'll be coming live later. I'll be coming back later by 7 p.m. today, and we're going to be having more discussions. With that being said, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. Love to see you all by 7 p.m. today. Most likely I might be having an audience, but let's see how things go. I want to get to certain areas and I'll be back. Rusty says, if you think you are free, take your clothes off and go for a run. How much are you willing to bet? I hope you are not talking about the mad one, because you have to ask yourself, what is the reason behind the idea of offing your clothes? Am I doing it because I want to run mad, to prove that I am running mad? Or am I encouraging the generations to come, this is the younger generations, that it is okay for you to act irresponsible? I hope you're getting that message. Am I doing it because I want to make money? What message am I trying to share by offing my clothes and running in the street? That is very possible. Very, very possible. But the only thing is, I have to look at it from a standpoint that I have young people who are looking at me, who sometimes I might not know that I'm influencing them, and they are learning from me. Subconsciously, they are learning from me. And if I portray myself in a negative light, they also might, emulate such things. And that can be detrimental. And that's the reason why we are not truly free ever in life. Okay, what you're saying is this: we were born nude. We conform to society. We are not truly free ever in life. Okay, let me put it this way. When you play with when you rejoice with your family or with children or stuff like that, is that a society programming, or is that a natural response of humanity. You know, some of us think that offering our clothes is something we would do if we are truly free. Let me ask you a question. Now, let us go into the biblical part. When God chased Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden, why were they looking for clothes to wear? In fact, they have to cut out the tree. It wasn't solely because they were naked, because probably in the Garden of Eden, maybe God was burning some bush for them to keep them warm. And the moment they begin to realize outside the Garden of Eden, they were cold, they had to put on some clothes. So was that because of society? Is that why they were looking for clothes? Or was it because it was proper to preserve their skin or preserve their body from certain things? That's not society. That's common sense. We wouldn't always conform to society. Rejoicing with our family, playing with our loved ones is not conforming to society expectation. That is what we are as humans. That's what humanity actually means. Not everything is actually conforming to society. They are part of society responsibility. Yes, you will conform to certain aspect of society responsibility, but there is also that part of you that can go out of society responsibility and just be human, because in the aspect of being a complete human, there is consciousness, and consciousness knows every emotions, knows everything to do, and knows every experience to have. When we rejoice as people, we are not conforming to society. True joy. I'm not talking about the joy of going to the club. Going to the club and going to the party, that's society expectation. Rejoicing and having good time with your family and having good time with your friend, that's not society expectation. That is what humans are. Time is going, time is going, time is going. I know me and Rusty, we would have to have this discussion. Oh, my battery is even low. The battery of my phone is kind of low. With that being said, my brother, in Spain, on a warm day, you can walk around topless. I do it in England. People think I'm a crackhead. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. That's the reality. As long as you are not showing your genitalia outside, you wear your boxers and the rest of it. This is my compound. I can decide to off my clothes and just wear my boxers and move around. Simple. You think I'm crazy? That's your problem. When I come on live and I speak it, some people will say I'm senseless. Yes, if I'm senseless, that's fine. If you say I'm wise, that's fine. Regardless, people's opinion don't really matter in life. We only always appreciate or put people's opinion, we value it so much. If I take your opinion, it's because there's something I am learning from it, but not because of the pressure. I would never take an opinion due to pressure. So you say we are crackheaded? Please leave us with our crackhead. Yad munde gete, abi yang yared mulugute, mulugeta. Hey, you must be from South Africa. Hello, everyone from Ethiopia. Proud of Africa. Yay! I am happy seeing some of my African brothers joining us. That's interesting. Please, I love you guys so much that leaving you guys and going out of life and turning off these things, it breaks my heart. But sometimes Yoruba will say simply means that if I did not eat the oil, if I did not eat yam because of oil, I must use oil because of yam. It means that we do one thing for the sake of another. If I did not go off right now, I most likely my phone is going to turn off, and I might not be able to meet up with the things I am supposed to meet up with. I love you guys so much. Thank you everyone for joining me. Please, if you want to join membership, like, show more love. I love you all. Thank you. Bye-bye. Today was fruitful. I appreciate you all. See y'all later according to Rusty. Bye for now.